Thank God that's over. We're doing lots of things at the same time. And this is where it gets a kind of a little bit, I don't want to say silly. It makes no sense. It looks a little toasty. Let's look. Hello, my crafty friends, and welcome back to the Makers Gonna Learn YouTube channel. Y'all, today we are going to be doing a multi-step project that I think you all are going to love. We are going to be combining Cricut print and cut plus a little bit of sublimation to create the most beautiful card that also has a gift with it. I'm so excited to do this with you all and walk you through the process, and I think by the end of this video you all are going to love this just as much as I do. So if you are ready, let's go ahead and dive in and talk about everything that you are going to need to complete this card. So like I said, we are going to be doing Cricut print and cut plus sublimation, but I want to, as I'm walking you through these materials that you're going to need, I'm going to also explain to you how you could do this if you don't have sublimation capabilities. This is still very, very doable if you only have a Cricut. So let me turn you around and show you everything that you are going to need. So here is what we are going to be creating, y'all. This card is so stinking cute. We have our card base, which I'm going to be showing you how to set all of this up on Cricut. We're going to be recutting a couple pieces of this anyway. So you are going to need some type of cardstock. We are working with Celebration Warehouse cardstock. It is hands down our favorite cardstock to work with. We're going to be working with white and this hot pink color. I'm going to have all of our supplies linked in the description below so that you don't even have to guess. I'm going to have both of these colors linked directly to Celebration Warehouse. But y'all, this cardstock truly cuts like butter. I am obsessed with it, and you will honestly not find any other cardstock here at the Makers Gonna Learn office. It is hands down our favorite. And y'all, if you go grab some of this, make sure you use code MGL for 20% off. Trust me, you're gonna love this as much as we do. So we are gonna be starting with our Celebration Warehouse cardstock, as you can see here. Now, because we are printing on the front of this one, you are going to need some type of inkjet printer to print this out. Super, super easy. I'm gonna show you exactly how we're gonna do that. And if you wanted to, we've also added a little sentiment on the inside with our Cricut pens. So if you want to do that as well, you can. The pen color that we used for this one is Wine from Cricut. This is the color that we used. We felt like it looked really good with that. So we are using this Cricut pen. Now, the star of the show for this card, so this is how it's gonna go, and we're gonna recut this one and make it not rounded edges, just so you know. But this is how this is gonna work. So we're going to glue this down, and then we have our sublimation coaster that's gonna go on the inside of this. And y'all, look at the design that we are putting on here from the 1900s in a cross stitch pattern. I'm actually obsessed with this. I think this is so cute. So we're gonna be sublimating this design on top of this coaster and creating the card. Now, if you don't have the capabilities to sublimate, don't worry. You can still create this same project using a print and cut sticker. It really can be that simple, and all you have to do is place a sticker on top of this. Now, because this is glossy, I would highly suggest using a glossy sticker. The Cricut sticker paper, especially the waterproof laminate set, is going to be hands down our favorite, and I think that one would hold up the best when it comes to putting a drink on top of your coaster if you are going to go the print and cut route. Now, another thing that you can do if you are going to do print and cut on your coaster versus sublimation, so if you all didn't know, when you sublimate onto something, it is on there permanently, like permanent. No water can take it off. It's just there. So that's why we decided to do sublimation for ours, but we also understand that not everybody can do that. So if you are gonna do a print and cut sticker on this, one, try your best to use the Cricut waterproof laminate sticker set. And then from there, if you don't have that, another option would be just to cover your sticker with a little bit of UV resin and let that cure, and that's going to really seal that sticker onto your coaster. So, like I said, Everything is going to be linked down below. Now, if you are going to be doing sublimation, you are going to need your sublimation printer. We are using our Epson ET8550. This is a converted printer. We have converted this from a regular inkjet printer to a sublimation printer. So this is the one we are going to be using today. So you will also want to have some sublimation paper to print your sublimation print on. That just gives us the best color payout if you are doing sublimation. And then, of course, you are going to need your heat press. So we are going to go ahead, while we're over here, let's go ahead and get our heat press turned on. Now, we are doing ceramic, and if you've ever done sublimation on ceramic, you know that the temperature needs to be quite high, and I'm pretty sure, actually, let's go back over here and check it. So with the coasters that we are sublimating on, there wasn't an actual insert in the box to tell me exactly what it was, but I went back on Amazon, and I'm gonna link these down below. We actually bought ours in bulk, so if you find some from this brand that is a smaller size and you don't want 36 of them, by all means, get a smaller size, but this brand does really well. So going over here to Amazon, it says that this needs to be at 410 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's go back over here, and we're just gonna go ahead and set our heat press to 410 degrees Fahrenheit. Boom. Next, if you've sublimated with ceramic, you know that you have to do it for quite some time. So we need to do this for 210 seconds, and we only have it set to 25. So I'll be back here in just a second. Thank God that's over. That was a little annoying. So we have it set to 410 degrees Fahrenheit. We are doing it for 210 seconds. So we're gonna let this heat up while we get everything else set up. Now that we have our heat press on and going, let's go ahead and hop over to our share screen so that we can get everything set up in Design Space the way that we need it and get everything printed and cut so that we can put this amazing card, gift, I don't know, what do you wanna call it? Like gift in a card, a bougie card ready to go. So let's go ahead and hop over to our share screen. So now that we are here in Design Space, this is the end result that we are going to end up with, but we need to grab the files and fonts that we need from the Makers Gonna Learn website so that we can get started. So I'm gonna hop over to the Makers Gonna Learn website. And while we are here, these are the coasters that we got, and you can see it gives you the directions here. Once again, this is going to be linked down below for you all. So we're going to start off here at the Makers Gonna Learn website. The first font that we're going to grab is Marigold Morning. That is what we're putting on the front of the card for the happy birthday auntie. So what you're going to do to download a font from the Makers Gonna Learn website, you're going to click this arrow pointing down, and then you're going to open that up and install it onto your computer. You can see I already have Marigold Morning installed, and because I'm working with a Mac, it's not going to let me install it again, but that's how you are going to install your fonts. Now, if you are on anything other than a Mac, which a lot of you may be, the good thing about our website is once you click on a font, if you are having trouble downloading your fonts, you can click on that font, open up that page, and scroll down here to the bottom, and you can choose what operating system you are working from, whether it's a PC, Mac, or iOS, and we have a video instructing you exactly how to download your fonts. So after you've grabbed Marigold Morning, the next font that we're going to be working with is Opulent Sketch. This is the font that we are going to be drawing with our Cricut, with the Cricut pen. So you can grab this sketch font. Now, if you aren't a fan of the Opulent Sketch font, what I highly suggest you doing is just going to our font page and typing in Sketch, just Sketch, and it is going to pull up all of the sketch or writing fonts that we have on our website. So you can go through there and choose the font that you like the best. Personally, Moonlight is one of my hands down favorite sketch fonts, and you never know, I may switch it up and add that in to our project, who knows. But this is all of our sketch fonts that you can choose from. And then the last thing that you are going to need is this file from the 1900s cross stitch embroidery file. This is what we are going to be sublimating onto our coaster. So you'll download that by clicking the download icon. And then from there, because this is we intended for this to be sublimated or printed, you are only going to get the PNG version of this file, so you don't have to unzip the folder. This just comes in as is. So once you're done with that, we are going to hop over to Design Space, and we are going to start the process of putting our card together. So I'm just going to go ahead and we'll just go ahead and delete all of this, and we're going to start fresh. So we're going to be making our card a 5.5 by 5.5 card just to give us more room to work with because the coaster is pretty large. So what we're going to do is we're going to start over here on the shapes, and we are going to grab a square. Now this square is going to come in as 2 by 2, but we need to just resize this. So we're going to come up here to size, and we're going to unlock the proportions, because we need either the width or the height to be double of the other. So if you want a horizontal card, if you want it to open up from bottom to top, then your width is going to be 5.5. If you want it to open up from one of the sides, if you want a vertical folded card, then your height is going to be 5 by 5. This will all make sense here in just a few minutes if it's confusing right now. So if you want it to open up from the top, we're going to do 5.5 on the width, and then the height is going to be 11 inches. So here is the base of our card, and let's go ahead and make this white. Now from there we need to add in our fold, so we need to add in our score line. So we're going to come back over here to shapes. We're going to grab a line. We are going to, I like to just go ahead and rotate it because we're doing a 90, we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. And then we're going to come up here to size, and we want this to be the same as the width across. Okay, so we're going to make this 5.5. And then we're just going to drag and select all of these and align them center. And once they have been aligned center, we're going to come over here and we're going to attach those together. And this is the base of our card. Now, the reason that I went ahead and attached these together, you're going to see why here in just a second, because I want to create that pink layer that's going to go on the front. And I can do that super easy after I have attached this by going up here to the effects. We're going to go to offset, and instead of doing an offset, and I want to change this to square corners. This is going to be very important. You don't want rounded corners with square corners on your card. It just doesn't fit. It doesn't look right. So we're going to make sure that we choose rounded corner or square corners, and then we are going to slide this in until we feel happy enough for our pink layer, however large you want your pink layer to be. And then we're going to hit apply, and boom. Now it does come in, it does have two separate squares, but what we're going to do is we're just going to contour one of them out. And now we have, for the front of our card, our hot pink layer. So I'm going to come down here, I'm going to change this color. We will change it to this pretty hot pink color to kind of match what we are making it. Beautiful. And now we have to create the other layer that's going to have the happy birthday auntie on it. Now, one thing that is very important about this next step is to make sure that you grab your coaster and you get the size. If you have bought the same coasters that we have linked down below, I'm fixing to give you the size. If you did not, you can use any coaster that you can get your hands on, whether that's from Hobby Lobby, Walmart, it really doesn't matter, but you need to get the size of your coaster. So this coaster is going to be 4 inches, a 4-inch circle. So let's go ahead and hop back over to Design Space, and I'm going to show you how we're going to use that. So now that we are back here in Design Space, I'm going to grab a shape. I'm going to grab a circle. You know what to do next. We're coming up here to the size. Now we are keeping this one locked, but we're going to make it a 4-inch circle, okay? Now the next thing that we're going to be doing is we are going to take this pink layer, we're going to duplicate it, change it to this white, and then we're just going to make it a little bit smaller so that we can see that pink kind of peeking through. Now, it is very important that we make sure that our circle fits within that white and still gives us enough room to add a little bit of decor. Now, if you feel like it doesn't, what I would do is select both the white and the pink layer together and just kind of size them up so that that pink is a little bit more, covers a little bit more ground. So if you made your offset a little bit too small, don't worry. Like I said, we can fix that. So I feel like this is pretty good right here. And now what we are going to do, I'm going to make sure that my circle is centered. And y'all, can we just, a round of applause for Cricut and these snap grids. This is something that we have asked for years. So I am so glad that they gave it to us. But now the next step is we are going to, with these circles selected, we're going to, over here at our layers panel, we're going to hold our shift key down, and we're also going to select that offset. Come down here to the bottom where it says combine, and we are going to exclude that circle. And we know it's excluded because we can see that pink all the way through it. Now, something that I just thought about is I made this circle 4 inches. But for it to fit, for our coaster to fit within that circle and maybe have a little bit of room, we need to make that circle just a tad bit bigger than 4 inches. So what I do love about Exclude is, although I now realize I made a mistake, I can come back in here, just select the circle, come over here to size, and we can make that maybe like 4.125. And then we're gonna make sure that we re-center it and it's still excluded. And it fits beautifully. So now it is time for us to add in our little embellishments. So I'm gonna start off with our happy birthday auntie. So I'm gonna grab my text box. I'm gonna come up here to my fonts. I'm gonna go to my system fonts because all of your downloaded fonts are gonna live in your system fonts. And we are working with the Marigold Morning. And I'm just gonna type in happy birthday, auntie. Size it down. We're gonna zoom it in. And here in a minute, we are going to make it fit right here at the top, and I'm going to curve it. So the next thing I'm gonna do is we were gonna add some of the embellishments on the bottom here from that, from the 1900s font, or from the 1900s file. So I'm gonna come over here to upload. I'm going to go to upload image. I'm going to bring my Finder back into view and grab that PNG. And then we're gonna hit continue. Now, from here, I want to go ahead and remove the background. We do have Cricut access, so we are quickly able to remove that background pretty easily. And now what I'm going to do, just because I want to kind of isolate this bottom portion, is I'm gonna come over here to manual and I'm going to erase, and I'm gonna pull that up to 100, and I'm just going to erase all of this here because I think it's going to be harder for me to try to slice versus just erasing this here. And then I'm going to make sure I preview the single layer and that there's nothing left up here, and there's not. And then I'm going to hit apply and continue. I want this as a flat graphic. And now I have isolated that one little piece from that file that we can add to the bottom. When we zoom it, when we scale it down, we can add those little pieces to the bottom here, just as like our little print and cut embellishment. So we're gonna zoom in. I'm going to rotate this over to the side, make it just a little bit smaller so that it fits just like that. And then I'm gonna duplicate it, and I'm just going to flip it. I flipped it horizontally. That way I probably shouldn't have to manipulate it if I got it right on that side. And boom, there are our 2 little embellishments on the bottom. The next thing that we need to do is we need to really color match these little pieces down here. I do think I got this hot pink a little bit off, but I'm gonna make this happy birthday very similar to this one. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing it up to it, and then I'm going to come down here to advanced. And actually, when I look at that compared to that, I think that's a pretty good match. So I'm going to leave that one there, and let's just go ahead and change this pink to that color too, because I think that looks a lot more cohesive than that other pink that I had picked out. So we're just going to move this back down like this. Beautiful. And then I'm going to come up here. We're going to go with this font. We're going to go to Format. Actually, we're going to go to Effects. We're going to go to Curve, and we are going to curve our text to fit around that circle. Now, I might have to make it just a little bit smaller and then uncurve it a little bit. So let's go back over to Effects. We're going to uncurve it a little bit right there. And once it is centered up, we are going to take all of these elements plus our white layer and the happy birthday Auntie, and we're going to come down here to the bottom and we're going to flatten those all together. And that is all that you're going to need to do for that. Now, if you want to add text on the inside of your card, because we have this layer and our offset layer, let's bring it over to the side, and let's say this is the front, it's going to fold down. We're going to put text on the inside. So what you're going to need to do is come over here to your text box. We're going to bring it over here. Now, if you are going to be writing on your card with some Cricut pens, what you're going to want to do is change this to a sketch font. Remember, the one that I said we used was Opulent, but my favorite was Moonlight. So I'll just go ahead and link both of those down below for you. And then we're just going to put our sentiment inside the card. Now, you may think, oh, okay, I've got that. That's super easy. But this is not the last thing that you need to do. If you are going to be adding a sketch font and writing inside your design, you have to make sure that you select your card base and the text that you are putting in there. First of all, let's go back, because this is currently a basic cut. We need to change it from a basic cut to a pen. Very, very important. You can even change the color if you want to. Remember, I said that the one that we were using, the color is wine. So you can change the color if you would like. Make sure you select both of them. And what we're going to do is we're going to attach that together. And that tells Cricut, hey, I need you to cut this outside edge. I need you to score across, and I need you to write all of this together. And that is a very, very important piece of this puzzle. So once you have done that, pretty much everything is set up in Design Space. Now, if you want to print your sublimation print from Design Space, you can do that as well. So if you are going to be sublimating on your coaster, make sure that you come over here and you upload the full from the 1900s onto your canvas. Now, because this one, we're going to be sublimating on it, we don't have to remove the background if you don't want to, because if you've ever sublimated before, you know that having that white background is not that big of a deal. So we're just going to go ahead and add that to canvas, and I'll just go ahead and size it to fit our circle. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring my circle back in. I'm going to make sure that it is 4 inches, and I'm actually going to turn it from a basic cut to a guide. That way I can, let's put that down. We're going to move this over. Ooh. Let me grab my circle guide here. Move it over here. And now I can take this image, I can size it down, and I can make sure that this fits perfectly inside that circle. That is one thing I love about having this guide. It just makes it easy and makes me feel more confident on the sizing of my design. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna delete that guide out. This is perfect as is, okay? Now, what's gonna happen is because this is flattened and this is print and cut and this is also a PNG and print and cut, it's gonna put it on the same page, but we don't wanna do that, and I'm gonna show you how to do that from the Make It screen. So once you have it all set up just like this, we're gonna come over here to Make It. Remember, I said they're gonna both go on the same page. We don't really want that. So I'm gonna first change this to 8.5 by 11. And then I'm gonna come up here to these 3 dots. I'm gonna move object to a new mat. So I'm going to have these separate because this one needs to be mirrored because we're sublimating with this image, and this one does not because we're just gonna be cutting it out of regular cardstock paper, okay? So now you should have, if you are going to be, actually, whether you're doing this with sublimation or with a sticker, you should have 4 different mats because although 1 and 4, like I said, are print and cut and can be on the same page, you're going to be doing them with different materials. Okay, so we're going to start out here and we're just going to go ahead and send this to printer. So we're going to go to continue. We're going to send to printer. We're going to make sure I'm printing my inkjet. The inkjet printer that I'm going to be using is the Canon TS 9500 series. It is our favorite inkjet printer, and I'm going to be printing this on a pretty heavyweight cardstock so that it gives my card a little bit more stability. Now, one thing that we always do here on the Maker's Gonna Learn channel is we always make sure we use System Dialog. Now, for this one, we don't have to add the bleed just because it's going to be white all the way to the edge. So you don't have to add bleed, but we're always going to use System Dialog. Now, once that has popped up, we always like to feed it from our rear tray and change our quality from normal to best, and then we're going to print. Now, before we start cutting on our Cricut, I'm actually going to send my design to my sublimation printer next. That way I can get that started because remember, I have to sublimate on this coaster for 210 seconds. So to kind of try to be a little bit more efficient, I like to have multiple things going at the same time. So before I start cutting here, I'm going to go over to my other print. I'm going to send it to printer just like I did with the inkjet printer. Nothing has really changed. We're gonna make sure that we are using System Dialog. And then let me just bring you over here so I can show you. So I wanted to show you all, after I've chosen my Epson ET8550, I do have a sublimation preset that I have created. Now this is on a 13 by 19, but I need it on 8.5 by 11. So I'm just gonna make sure that I change it to 8.5 by 11. But using my sublimation presets. If you want to know more about how to do your sublimation presets, like I said, make sure you click that link down below and either check out the $7 trial membership, or if you're ready to go all in with MGL Plus, you can go ahead and join us yearly. I promise you, you're not going to want to miss out because what that's going to give you is full access to our whole website plus every course we have ever created, y'all. I mean, it is so worth it. So after that, I like to come down here, change this color matching to color sync, just because I feel like it gives more of the colors that I'm going for, and then I'm going to click print. While that is printing, I am gonna go ahead and let's just get our pink page started here. I'm gonna put this on a light grit mat. So I've got this on a light grit mat. Now I'm just going to be cutting this on a medium cardstock setting. So I'm going to load this into my machine. And then from there, we're just gonna hit the flashing play button. Now, I feel like I keep moving you back and forth, but we're doing lots of things at the same time. So our sublimation print, it has printed. So I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm actually going to be taking off the registration marks. And I know it sounds kind of silly, like why would you print in Cricut because you have registration marks? I get it, but sometimes it's just easier if you are working in one software to not have to flip and flop back and forth. And that's why Sometimes I will print my sublimation prints from Cricut and not care a bit. So what we're gonna do now, I'm going to line this up on the coaster. Now what you can do, if you want to be able to kind of see where you're at a little bit more, I'm cutting this down pretty close to the design. You can see I've cut it down fairly close. And I'm going to lay this down on my coaster. Now, we are gonna come over here to the heat press, and let me just sit you right here so that we can see. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to grab my heat resistant tape, and I'm just going to tape this down onto my coaster. I actually think I just got it a little bit high, so let's move it down just a little bit. And then once I have this taped down, I'm going to grab some butcher's paper. And this is where it gets a kind of a little bit, I don't want to say silly, but when you are sublimating with ceramic, I have found that you get best results actually when you flip it upside down. It makes no sense, but because this is going to be in the press for such a long time, I have noticed that flipping it upside down and letting it heat the ceramic from the back gives you phenomenal results. Now, this particular design does not go all the way to the edge. If you are sublimating something like this coaster and going all the way to the edge, another little trick is to use a pressing pillow to make sure that design kind of curves around the edge. That really helps, but because we're not doing it all the way to the edge, all we have to do is lay this down. Now, actually, technically, we should probably do our butcher's paper sandwich. So let me do butcher's paper here. We're gonna lay this down here. So I'm gonna grab a second sheet of butcher's paper and we're gonna create our butcher's paper sandwich, and I'm going to press this at 410 degrees Fahrenheit for 210 seconds. Yep, it's on 210. That's quite some time. So now we're back over here to our Cricut. Let's go ahead and unload our mat. Here is our pink piece. We're gonna take that off, and now we are going to add our little print and cut image onto our mat, and that's what we're gonna cut next. So now that I have added this onto the mat, I am going to, once again, we are cutting this on the medium cardstock setting. So we are going to load this in, and we're gonna let this cut. Okay, so now that that has printed, we're gonna come back over here. Let me just put you right here, and we're going to unload this off the mat. And now we are ready to start putting our card together. Now, I am gonna use this card base that we already created just to cut down on my time creating this. But what you would do next is you would then put you a white piece of 12 by 12 on a piece of, or on your mat. You are going to need a scoring stylus or a scoring wheel to score across there. You're just gonna place that into clamp A, and then you would place your pen into clamp A after it has scored, and then it's gonna cut for you. It's really super simple, and Cricut walks you through step by step. Okay, our sublimation coaster is done. It looks a little toasty. Let's look. So you can see here, it looks a little toasty. Now, that's gonna be super hot. Do not touch that with your hands. You must always make sure you use heat-resistant gloves. You can see here, I'm gonna put this on. Let me just set you down real quick. Okay, I had to set you down over there because I couldn't put this on with one hand. So make sure you are using heat-resistant gloves. And then we're just gonna turn this over. Boom. There is our from the 1900s coaster, y'all. That is so cute. I'm obsessed with this. So we're gonna let this cool down for a minute before we attach it to our card. But we do need to put the rest of our card together. So let's do that. While this cools down, I'm gonna set this over to the side. So the pieces that we have are our 5 by 5 card base. We have this layer, which is our pink layer that's going to go down first, just like this. And then from there, we are going to place down our second layer that's going to house our coaster. So a couple things that I did forget to mention at the first of the video, you are going to need different types of adhesives to put these things together. So the first type of adhesive you are going to need is double-sided tape. Now you can put this layer down with glue. If you like a liquid glue, by all means, use a liquid glue. I am a dry adhesive girl. I love a good dry adhesive, and if we're being honest, this is not my favorite tape runner. I can't currently find our favorite tape runner, but I will link it down below. But any double-sided adhesive is going to work. So what you're gonna do, oh my, this is why this is not my favorite. It is very hard to drag this adhesive across, but it's going down, and I'm not gonna let it stop me because I'm gonna make sure that this card is a cutie card. Okay, and that's why this is not my favorite. The one linked is. So you can see I have my dry adhesive on the back. Now you do want to make sure that you're putting it on the correct side, especially if you did some writing inside the card. So this is the front, and I'm just going to place this down here, center it up the best that I can, make sure we place that down. And the next type of adhesive that I'm going to use is I'm going to use these foam squares, and I'm going to use the foam squares just to give this layer a little bit of height, because the coaster is tall, so we want to give this layer, like I said, just a little bit of height. So I'm going to be putting these foam squares in the corners of this little piece. We're just going to take the backers off, and again, making sure that it is opening, we're putting it on properly like that. We are going to place this down, and actually I think I need some in the middle. After trying to place that one down, I think I need some in the middle. So I have a couple here that I've just cut in half, and I'm going to place that on the edges. Y'all see here? I'll show you. Let me just put it on and then I'll show you. That's just to help it from bending so it doesn't bend down. Now, one little tip is if you have these larger ones, grab a true control knife. I'll show you. You can grab a true control knife and like cut these, but keep them on the backer so that you don't have to try to cut them with scissors and lose half of it. So do you see how I've cut these and they're just kind of staying there? That's my little hack when it comes to cutting your foam squares in half, so you can save them and keep them all together. Okay, so I'm going to take the backers off of these on the sides as well. And then, oh, so much better. So now you can see it adds a little bit of depth and dimension. Now, the last type of adhesive that you are going to need is a pretty good adhesive for your coaster, and we're actually gonna hot glue it onto this, and we're gonna take this, which is the cork backer, and we're gonna put it on the inside. That way, when they tear this off of the card, they can cover up what is left. You can peel off the hot glue off the back of it, and then you can put the backer on. So I'm gonna let our hot glue heat up just a little bit more. I'm going to take my double-sided tape here, and I'm going to add just a little bit of double-sided tape to the back of this cork piece, and I'm going to place it here on the inside just like this, so that they do have this once they take this off the front. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hot glue gun, and I'm going to add some hot glue to the back of the coaster just like that. Doesn't take a ton, and then we're gonna line it up and press it down. And y'all, you have a super cute card that is also a gift. I think this is so stinking cute and a super fun way to give a gift and a card all in one. Oh my goodness, guys, what did you all think about this project? Do you love this as much as I do? If you are wanting to recreate this exact same thing and you want all of these files, all you have to do is click that link down below and sign up for our $7 trial membership if you are not already an MGL Plus member. Y'all, what that $7 trial is going to do is it is going to give you unlimited access to our website for 7 days. You are also going to get 20 download credits. So you can browse our website, see if we are a right fit for you, and while you're there, you can go ahead and grab some fonts, some cut files, however many of each you want. 10 fonts, 10 cut files, 20 cut files, 20 fonts, however you want to mix and match, but you are going to get 20 download credits with that $7 trial membership. And after the 7 days is over, you're just gonna roll over to a monthly membership and you'll get to craft even more with us. So make sure you click that link down below if you wanna recreate this. And if you have made it this far in our video and you haven't already, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel so that you can get notified every single time we get crafty. I want to thank you all so much for being here with us today and creating this super cute gift and card all in one, and I cannot wait to see you guys again. Bye guys.